Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through all that noise and bring you the really impactful insights from, well, a whole stack of sources tailored just for you. And today, we're diving into something that honestly touches every single one of us, pretty much constantly. The kind of mind-boggling, always shifting world of online content. Seriously, just take a second. Think about the sheer volume of information, the stuff you process every single day. It's almost impossible to wrap your head around, right? But our sources give us a bit of perspective. They've dug up this truly staggering statistic. Roughly 4.6 billion pieces of content get created every single day. Yeah, we're talking text, audio, images, video, the whole lot. And here's where it gets really wild. In just 2 days, just two, more content is produced than there are people on the entire planet. Let that sink in. It basically means the amount of new information flooding in is just way beyond our collective ability to even glance at it. So our mission for this deep dive, it's really to unpack what this content deluge means for you. Whether you're trying to get your message out there, maybe build a brand, or frankly, just stay informed without feeling totally overwhelmed. We're going to explore what this new internet of 2025 really looks like, and maybe more importantly, how you can not just survive, but actually thrive in this incredibly dynamic environment.
And what's fascinating here, it's not just about, too much stuff. It's more profound than that. This incredible volume is actively creating what our sources are calling a crisis of attention. Think about it. In a world with infinite choices online, our most limited resource is actually our focus, our attention. With so much material fighting for even a fraction of a second, it's getting exponentially harder for any single piece of content to, cut through and really capture people's minds. And that naturally raises a really important question when everyone seems to be shouting, how do you make your voice heard? We're going to dig into the fundamental shifts shaping this landscape because, frankly, the old roles, they just don't apply anymore.
Yeah, that's so true. For years, the standard advice online was pretty simple, wasn't it? Build massive follower count, get those big numbers. That was seen as the key. We all chased it thinking, okay, that's influence, that's reach, that's success. But like you said, our sources are really strongly suggesting those traditional strategies are quickly becoming, well, almost obsolete. The game has totally changed. And I think for a lot of people, that's kind of a shock. And the shift is pretty dramatic. Algorithms, right? These unseen forces curating our feeds. They don't really prioritize big accounts anymore just because they have a big audience already. Instead, what genuinely matters now, according to this research, is whether a piece of content gets strong, immediate engagement, like right after it's published. And this has a really profound, kind of surprising implication. It's a real game changer. A creator with literally zero followers starting from scratch could theoretically outperform someone with millions. That is, if their post sparks that immediate, intense interest with whoever sees it first. That's just a complete flip of how we used to think about it. But hang on, how does someone with no followers even get seen by that first group? Is it just pure luck?
That's a great question, and it really gets to the core of this new reality. If we connect this to the bigger picture, it basically means the gatekeepers, the platforms themselves, have changed what they're looking for. They're not just rewarding existing fame or follower counts anymore, not primarily anyway. They're actively hunting for real-time resonance, content that grabs attention right now. So to your point about getting seen initially, it's less about luck and more about how the algorithms are designed. They want to find new, potentially viral stuff. So when you post, even with no followers, the system usually shows it to a very small, diverse sample of users, just to test the waters. If those users engage quickly and critically, if they watch it for longer, not just glance, the algorithm sees that as a strong signal, a sign of quality or at least interest. It's almost like a meritocracy based on immediate impact. It's built to surface genuine novelty, genuine engagement, rather than just reinforcing who's already popular. It puts the power back in the content itself, not just the creator's history.
So for you listening, it means it's less about who you were online yesterday and much more about what you create right now, this very moment.
Okay, so this huge flood of content, you'd think it just makes it harder for everyone, right? Especially if you're new. But what our sources argue, and this is the part I find really energizing, is that this overwhelming volume actually creates a massive opportunity, an opportunity for innovation. It sounds like a paradox, doesn't it? But the data seems to show that the power of just being new is huge. New ideas, fresh topics, digging into unexplored niches, these are apparently the most powerful drivers of reach today. And Neil Patel, who many of you probably know, a big name in digital marketing, he really hammers this point home. He says, and this is a direct quote, "Quality isn't about lighting, sound, or polish. It's about novelty and uniqueness." That's massive. I mean, that takes the pressure off needing a Hollywood budget, right?
Yeah.
A viral success, it seems, increasingly depends on bringing something genuinely different to the table, not just rehashing what worked last month or trying to perfectly copy someone else. And that's fantastic news if you have a unique perspective or fresh insight or just an original way of looking at things. The playing field is definitely leveling.
But it does raise an interesting question, doesn't it? Why would novelty be prioritized so heavily over, say, professional polish? Especially when platforms push for high-def video and all that. Well, in this attention economy we keep talking about, something genuinely fresh it grabs you. It holds your attention because it's an escape from the constant stream of the familiar. Our brains are kind of wired that way, evolutionarily speaking. We notice what's new because it might be important. And in this flood of content, that old novelty detector in our heads is working overtime. The platforms, they're basically tapping into that fundamental human desire for discovery, something that feels like a genuine revelation, even a small one. And connecting this back, it really does lower the barrier to entry for creators. It shifts the focus to authentic, original thought over big budgets, which is powerful, but it also presents a challenge. How do you keep being novel? That constant pressure to be fresh without maybe sacrificing depth, that's tough.
That's a really good point about sustainability. Being novel once is one thing, but consistently, that's the real challenge. Okay, let's shift gears slightly, because here's where things get really interesting, and maybe not what you expect. When we think search, I mean, everyone thinks Google, right? It's been the king for so long, basically synonymous with finding stuff online. Well, our sources are showing Google's dominance is actually shrinking pretty significantly. They estimate it holds only around 27% of the global search market share now, which, compared to where it was, is a big drop. The reality is people are searching everywhere else now. All these other platforms combined, they handle something like over 50 billion searches every single day. That number is just huge. And it points to this really fragmented, diverse search landscape. We're talking places like YouTube, which is basically the world's second biggest search engine, especially for how-to or visual stuff. Then there's Instagram and TikTok for finding trends, visual inspiration, products even. Snapchat for quick updates. Amazon, obviously, for buying things. App stores. And increasingly, AI tools like ChatGPT. People are using it for information, for brainstorming, for summarizing things. What's really interesting is how people search differently on each one. Their intent is different. There's this tool Neil Patel mentions, Answer the Public. It actually taps into these trends by showing emerging search phrases from lots of different platforms, not just Google. So it helps creators see not just what people searched yesterday, but maybe what they'll be curious about across the whole internet tomorrow. It's about anticipating the questions.
Exactly. And if you connect that to the bigger picture strategy-wise, it means creators need to think way, way beyond just traditional Google SEO. It's not enough anymore. It's not just about where people are searching, but really understanding how they search and why they search on each specific platform. Someone typing into YouTube, they probably want to see something. A demo, a tutorial, maybe just entertainment. An Amazon search, that's almost always transactional. They're looking to buy. Searching on ChatGPT might be about getting ideas, finding a quick summary, or even co-creating something. Very different intents. So this idea of search everywhere optimization, it isn't just about sticking keywords everywhere. It's about tailoring your content format, the keywords you use, even the tone of your content, to match how people behave on that specific platform, what feels native there. A long, detailed blog post optimized for Google, that's probably not going to translate well to a viral TikTok clip that needs to be short, visual, punchy. The strategic implication here is huge. You have to understand these nuances to get found. It really is about meeting your audience where they already are, on their terms, with content that fits that environment. It demands a much broader, multi-platform view. And yeah, it's a constant challenge to keep up as behaviors change on each platform.
Wow, yeah, that's a massive mental shift for anyone creating content. Moving from optimizing for one place to this incredibly diverse, ecosystem. Okay, so let's unpack this a bit more. Let's really dive into how these new algorithms actually work, because this is where the advantage for new voices, for fresh faces, really comes in. Our sources are pretty clear. Platforms
Yeah.
are actively looking for and prioritizing new creators now. Being new isn't a disadvantage anymore. It can actually be an advantage. It's not about being established. It's about being effective right now. So the way our sources describe it, the algorithm works kind of like a sophisticated filter, or maybe like ripples spreading out. Here's the basic idea. First, your content, even if you have 0 followers, gets shown to a small, varied test group. It's not totally random. They try to sample different kinds of people. Okay, then, if that initial group engages strongly, and the key here is watch time, how long they stick around, not just a quick, if they watch, the algorithm sees that as a good sign. Quality content. So it expands the reach, shows it to a slightly larger audience. Then, if your content keeps performing better than average for its category within that bigger group, the cycle repeats. It gets pushed out further and further, potentially reaching millions. And that's exactly how someone unknown can suddenly blow up seemingly overnight. And our sources really, really emphasize this point. Watch time. That seems to be the single most important signal for these platforms. Yeah, sure, likes, shares, comments, they matter. They show engagement. But keeping people watching, that's the ultimate prize for the platform. Why? Well, it's pretty simple. Longer watch time means more chances to show ads, right? And it means the user is happy, sticking around, more likely to come back. It feeds their whole business model. And just to loop back to what we said earlier, Neil Patel really stresses that novelty is what drives that crucial watch time. People will stick around to watch something fresh, something interesting, something genuinely new, way longer than they'll watch the same old recycled ideas. It breaks the pattern, grabs their attention.
And what's so cool here is that we see this playing out all the time.
Yeah.
Real-world examples are everywhere, showing you don't need that pre-existing reach anymore. Remember the guy just longboarding to work, drinking cranberry juice, listening to Fleetwood Mac?
Oh, yeah, Nathan Apodaca, that was huge.
Exactly. Just a simple, authentic, kind of unexpected moment. It went massively viral, millions of views, sponsorships, and he didn't have a huge following before that moment. It just resonated. Or think about that woman who posted a video looking for a husband, specifically in finance.
Right, that caused quite a stir.
Huge traction. It became a cultural moment, referenced on business news like CNBC, all before she'd built up any significant pre-existing audience. And these aren't just lucky breaks or flukes. They're direct examples of this new algorithmic reality in action. If you connect the dots, these stories prove it. Viral growth isn't just for celebrities or people with massive marketing budgets anymore. Anyone could potentially break through if their content hits the mark, if it resonates immediately, grabs interest, and most importantly, holds that precious watch time. It's a massive opportunity, definitely. But it also means the content landscape is incredibly dynamic. You need to keep finding that spark.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, what does this really mean for you looking ahead to this new internet in 2025 and beyond? It seems abundantly clear, doesn't it? It's not about the old way, meticulously building the biggest audience over years, that slow climb. It's much more about understanding how to create the right spark, at the right time. So this deep dive, it's really highlighted 3 core pillars for navigating this new world. First, attention. That's the currency now. It's finite, everyone wants it, and platforms reward it. Second, novelty. That's the engine. Freshness, uniqueness, new ideas, they're way more valuable than just polished repetition. And third, the algorithms. They're the gatekeepers, deciding who gets seen based on that real-time engagement, especially watch time, not just who you used to be. Our sources are actually pretty blunt about it. Those who get these shifts, who adapt, they'll thrive. Those stuck on the old strategies, they risk getting, well, wiped out, as one source put it. So we really hope this deep dive gives you the insights you need to be one of the thrivers.
Absolutely. And if you just pull back for a final thought, connect this to the bigger picture, it really encourages all of us, doesn't it?
Right.
To think not just about what content we put out there, but how it genuinely stands out, how it offers real, maybe unexpected value in this incredibly saturated world. It's really a call for more originality, more authenticity. So maybe a provocative thought to leave you with. In whatever area you're interested in, your work, your hobby, your passion, how could you bring a truly unique angle? An unexplored perspective, a novel approach that's genuinely yours. What new spark can you create? Not just to grab attention for a second, but to actually hold it, to offer something meaningful in this new economy. Because in this landscape, it really feels like the freshest, most authentic voice, the one offering something genuinely new, that might just end up being the loudest.